Today, we're going to be showing you guys how to replace the stem on your Citi 2023. And so for this repair, all you're going to need is the spanner wrench that comes with your stem, a 6mm Allen key, and a 4mm Allen key. But please note and remember, you might need a rubber mallet in order to get the stem off. It's not always necessary, but sometimes it is. So to start, what we're going to do is we're going to loosen our front brake line. And to do this, we'll just grab this and twist. You don't have to remove it completely, but just enough so that it's easy for you to remove the lines from the brake handles on the handlebar assembly. Next, we'll go to the rear and do the same thing. So now we'll go ahead and remove our brake lines from our handlebar. Next, we'll go ahead and remove the brake line gaskets on both sides. It could be a little finicky, so don't be afraid to grab a smaller sized Allen key and use it to pry out the gasket. Next, you'll remove the gasket itself from the line and you just pull. And the next step here is going to be to remove the handlebar assembly from the stem itself. Disconnect your comm cable and put this to the side. For this next part, you're gonna go to the bottom of the stem and you're gonna loosen these two 6mm screws. Keep in mind, these screws could be very, very tight. So we recommend taking a little bit of heat and heating up this area. Be careful not to heat it up too much, as you don't want to melt the wires on the inside. Once they're coming pretty easily out, you don't have to loosen it anymore. You just want to make sure that they're loose. Next, we'll go ahead and lower our stem. And then we'll take our proprietary tool that comes with your upgrade kit and we'll loosen the nut that is here. If you notice while trying to loosen this nut here that your stem and your forks are becoming misaligned, I recommend tightening up these two screws just enough so that everything stays in sync and doesn't move independently. All right, so next part, we're gonna be loosening this set nut. We recommend that you grab an extra friend so that they could sit down on the deck and hold everything in place, as this could be quite tight and it could be quite difficult to get off. Holding down the fork as well as you turn helps, but definitely see if you could get a friend. If you find that these wires are getting in the way, you can pull them out of the stem now. Just be sure not to shear your cables, as the edges can be sort of sharp. And after you've pulled your wires through the stem, you'll grab all of this hardware here, including the metal spring, and pull it off of the wires. So we'll now go back and re-loosen these side screws in order for us to be able to remove the stem from the neck. Please note that this could be fairly difficult and you might have to give the bottom of a stem a little bit of a bang. And then your stem should just come right off and you run your wires through it again and then you go grab your new stem. So now you got your new stem, and all you're gonna wanna do right now is run your wires through the stem, just like so. Not all the way through, but just like how you had it before. Now this part can also be a little finicky, and we recommend you grab a rubber mallet and tap down over here where the hook would latch. So next, you'll go ahead and reinstall your hardware, which is the set nut and the Nord lock. Put it through all three of our cables, put them down here, and then we'll grab again our spring or wire harness. Go ahead and leave it just like that. And then we can go ahead and feed our wires up the stem. All right, now that we got our wires all back through, we'll go ahead and tighten this up. We recommend that you add a little bit of Loctite so that it prevents any loosening from happening. Now, please note that you need to remember that the Nord lock goes before the set washer. Now, all that we're gonna do is just tighten down our set screw. We'll use our fingers first just to get the first couple threads, and then we'll grab our tool and really torque it down. For this step, I like to go again and tighten up these side screws so that everything stays aligned and nothing moves independently of each other. All right, so now that everything is tight, we'll go ahead and make sure to torque down our side screws. So next we'll go ahead and pull our brake lines back through the openings. You want to make sure the right side is for the rear and the left side is for the front brake. So we'll go ahead here and just, once again, be careful as these edges can be quite sharp and it might cut the braiding. If it does, it's not a huge big deal. It's more of a cosmetic thing than anything. So now that we got our brake lines through again, we'll go ahead and reinstall our gaskets. Now this can be very finicky, so I recommend, if you're having a hard time, grabbing a pair of needle nose pliers. Usually you can just force it through. And then we'll go ahead and put them back. This as well could be quite finicky, so don't be afraid to go ahead and grab your small Allen key again and use it to push it in. Next, we'll go ahead and grab our handlebar assembly again and reinstall it. Next, we'll go ahead and reinstall our brake lines. Make sure to keep in mind when reinstalling your brake lines, which line is for which side. You want your left side to be for the rear, and you want your right side to be for the front. And now we'll go ahead and tighten our front and rear brake lines. When tightening the brake, you want to give the motor a spin every once in a while, just to make sure that you're not over tightening it and it's causing it to squeak or rub. So now that our front is tight, we'll move to the back and repeat the process. And that's how you replace a stem on your Citi 2023.